Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I am going to give you the fast track to accreditation. This is what my mentor, Miss Velma, did for me. Now, I opened my school in 1998. 2000, going into 2001, I was accredited and started receiving government funding. A lot of people always want to know, how did you do it? Some people say, well, that's impossible. There was no way. Well, Ms. Velma had been doing this for 30 years when I got in her program. So basically what she did, she gave me all the documents that were in compliance, my enrollment agreement, my school catalog, leave of absence policy, satisfactory academic progress policy, my orientation forms, the pre-orientation receipt, the orientation checklist, when students withdrew, the student refund policy, all of that was already in compliance. So I was already operating my school as if I was accredited, although I wasn't. After I was open for about 12 months or whatever, went to the workshop. When I went to the workshop, Ms. Velma and the team, they had already did my ISS. That 200 to 400 page institutional self-study, it was already done. But I had to go to the workshop because you got to go to the workshop to get your workshop certificate before you can even go through candidate status to do your application. If you went online right now and did your candidate application and you have not been to a workshop, you're not going to get approved with candidate status because we know you have to have your workshop certificate. So when I went to that workshop there for 3 days, everybody had a headache, scratching their head, how they going to do their ISS and all that. My ISS was already done. The day that I finished the workshop, guess what Ms. Velma and the team did? They did my candidate status application. They had already did my certification form. They had already did my school feasibility study. She had already did my school resume, the attestation webinar form that you got to fill out and sign. That was already done. And I had already dated it a day after the workshop. So everything was done. Then she did the candidate application, answered all of those questions, because the candidate application is not as easy as y'all think it is. They have some trick questions on there. Anybody that's been through candidate status will tell you there are some trick questions that you don't understand, the verbiage and wording or whatever. And so she answered all that, boom, submitted it. I paid my application fee and the annual sustaining fees. That's like the membership fees. About a week to 2 weeks later, I was approved for candidate status. Once I was approved for candidate status, guess what? That's when you can upload your institutional self-study. Most school owners, when they get candidate status, 99.9% of them, guess what? Their institutional self-study is not done. Now, we've got people in our program who has given the team all their paperwork and everything, and we already had their stuff done. So when they went to the workshop, finished that or whatever, we submitted the candidate application. The ladies did all the work. And then guess what? The day that they got their email or whatever, they got candidate status, boom, the ladies immediately uploaded the ISS. So back then in 2000, 2001, we didn't have this portal. Ms. Velma and the team, they had already made 7 copies of the ISS. And they had already put the bookmarks were like paper marks, you know, that you had to put in a 3-ring binder folder. Those were already done. I went to FedEx and I shipped them off to Naccas. Okay. So now, but you all we had to do is upload it. Now, about 2 weeks later, guess what? ISS was approved, accepted. Now, they did my candidate visit. My candidate visit form was already filled out and I signed it, but it wasn't dated because I didn't know when Naccas was going to approve, you know, accept the ISS. When I got that information that it was approved, put that date on there, and guess what? Pay for the candidate visit application. All right. Now, I word the heck out of Naccas, like Ms. Velma told me. Every 3 or 4 days, hey, I was just calling, do I have a candidate visit yet? I know I got on their nerves. Boom, I finally got a candidate visit. It was about 4 or 5 months later, because Naccas tells you anywhere from 4 to 6 months. They came out about 4 to 5 months later. I got the 2-team visit. They came, they just looked around or whatever. That's just a friendly visit. They're not coming to lock you up, give you limitations and all that. It ain't nothing. Okay, now, when they left, they told me tighten up on this. Ms. Velma and them revised a couple of things on ISS, and I think I tightened up on a couple of things in the school. I think my fire extinguisher might have been expired or something like that. I don't know, but I did all of that, and then I got the little report. Ms. Velma and her team, they revised the ISS that same week, a couple of little things, and she had already did my initial accreditation application. We had already did that together. All right. I'd already got my letter from the state board documenting when the school opened and the programs that I was approved for. I'd already had that because they're going to ask that with that application. So now we submitted the ISS, the revised ISS, submitted that final application, paid the fees. Back then it might have been $4,000 or something for a full team visit. Now it's like 5,000 or something, whatever. But we're talking about 25 years ago, whatever. No, 20, about 23, 22 years ago. So now submitted that, and I had the auditor. Nathan Ferguson was not my auditor back then. It was another auditor, some older person, and they submitted my audited financials. I already had them done because proper planning prevents a painfully poor performance. Submitted that, paid the money. About 4 or 5 months later, they came for the final visit. Ms. Velma and her team were on standby. I already told you all the story, how I had a couple of files kind of out of place or whatever. I went in the bathroom, called Ms. Velma. Hey, Ms. Velma, I need this and need that. Team and went to lunch. They give you time to fix whatever so you don't get limitations. Ms. Velma faxed that information and all that. And that's another thing. When you're in the program, just like I can tell y'all, because she's on the YouTube, Tracy, she got 0 limitations. We did all her paperwork. She'll tell you when the team came, there was a couple of things that was going to write it up for her. She called me, texted me, shaking or whatever. Don't worry about it, Tracy. The ladies are here. You already told us you were getting your final visit. They emailed her everything, so she didn't get no limitations. But back to how I fast-tracked it. So now they came out there, got 0 limitations. 45 days later, went through the commission, boom, I'm accredited. Back then, you could get your financial aid really quick with the U.S. Department of Education. Submitted all the paperwork to them. 90 days later, I got my financial aid. So it was a little bit less than 3 years, or right at 3 years. But people always say, why did you fast track it? Why did you pay Ms. Velma? And I'll be honest with you all. I'm Black. Ms. Velma was Caucasian. She's white. She became like my mom. There were so many voices in my head and people telling me, you can do this yourself. Don't pay her that money. Why are you paying her this? Let me tell y'all something. If you need a kidney, if your child needs a kidney or heart surgery, and they may die without this surgery or kidney, that'd be very important to you, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. My accreditation, me getting financial aid, that's how important it was for me. I needed to get my accreditation. Every day, people were calling my school. Hey, do you have financial aid? Do you have any grants? I'm saying no. I'm losing thousands of dollars, whatever your tuition is. If your tuition is $10,000 and you getting 2 calls a week, do you have financial aid? No. And your tuition is $10,000, 2 people calling a week, you just lost $20,000 that week times 4 weeks in a month. You losing $80,000 a month. I was losing so much money. I had to get accredited to be able to take care of my family, to be able to take care of my mom, to be able to take care of my sister. You all know my story. I'm very transparent with you all. My sister went to prison because of me. So she had a daughter. So it was a lot of stuff that I needed to take care of. I was living at home with my mom. My stepdad, who was like my dad, he had a stroke because I went to federal prison. all the pressure and stuff on him, he almost died. So I had to get accredited. I had to get some money to be able to take care of my family and my mom. And of course, heck, I wanted a nice house. I wanted to be able to buy my mom a house, a mansion. I wanted to be able to travel, take her shopping. And I didn't want to, I was tired of looking at receipts and how much stuff costs and all that. So that's why I needed to get it ASAP. Now, if I hadn't invested in myself and tried to do it myself, and I hadn't invested in myself with Miss Velma, would I have gotten accredited? Probably, maybe, but would I have gotten accredited in record time? Absolutely not. I knew some school owners that tried to do it themselves. When I went back to some of the Naccas workshops, because we had to go every 12 months, for years and years and years, I was accredited, getting all this money. I'd made over $1 million. And guess what? Some of them were still working on their ISS, trying to do it themselves. Absolutely not. Now, am I telling you to do it yourself or hire a consultant? I don't care what you all do. I really don't. But for something that's so important, that's a matter of you being financially free and have time freedom, because I was working at my school from 8 in the morning, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. I had a morning class and a night class. And I was running it by myself for about 2 years. And then I hired one instructor just so I could go home to sleep sometime and rest. So in every phone call I was getting almost, do you have financial aid? No. But I knew once I got financial aid. Now, I can stand here and tell you, it's documented. Yeah, before I retired and did all that, they sent me over $20 million federal funds. Yeah, over 20 mil. That's documented. That's what's on paper. We're not including the kit sales and the product sales and the clinic floor and all that. The money's there for you all. The money's there. We have a lot of millionaire school owners in the program. A lot of them. The numbers don't lie. My tuition was $20,000. Yeah, it was 20,000 students. 20,000 times 50 students. Numbers don't lie. $20,000 times 50 students, that's $1 million. Okay. Yeah, but you got light bill, water bill. Yeah, I do. You got light bill, water bill, phone bill, rent, and all of that. But you got free labor too with the students. And instructors don't get paid. Yeah, instructors don't get paid a lot. We know that. Imagine my instructors, okay, back then I was paying them maybe $30,000 to $50,000 per year. All right. Ratio, we'll just say 20 students to one instructor. Your tuition is $20,000. 20 students times $20,000 is $400,000. Plus clinic floor for the year, another $50,000, $450,000. That one instructor is going to generate for you, teaching 20 students and the clinic floor, $450,000. What you going to pay that instructor? What, 30, 40, 50,000? They don't get paid a lot. If you're an instructor and you're on here, I recommend that you get your own school. You can do it. Start out small. I started small. A lot of people started small. Do the bare minimum. You can do it. I didn't even know how to teach. I had never taught in my life. But you can read the My Ladies curriculum. It's laid out. All you got to do is stay one chapter ahead. I still don't know how to do straight hair. I don't even know how to cut straight hair. I don't know how to do a relaxer. I don't even know how to do a color. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. Only thing I can do is cut curly, wavy, kinky hair a little bit. Well, how did you have a school and how did you teach the students? The My Ladies. If you go in there and read to them and show them the videos and all of that, well, how did you do it for them? What do you mean? I didn't. If I cut this straight hair for you, you're not going to know how to do it when you graduate. I'm not going to tie the shoe for you. I could demonstrate the 45 and 90-degree angle. All I had to do was stay a chapter ahead, y'all. That's it. And that's what I did. So all of these excuses that you saying and all that, no, There is no excuse. I was on federal parole. No credit, bad credit, no driver's license. When I got my school, when I got accredited, I was on federal parole. So there's no excuse. I had a old raggedy school in the hood. I've shown you all of this stuff. I'm so glad I got pictures and videos 25, 30 years ago, and I've shown that to y'all. So there is no excuse. And God will bless you beyond measure. If you trust in God, he will bless you. Faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains. What if I listen to them people? Oh, but you're a black man, but you're on federal parole. You're a convicted felon. You got bad credit. You don't even know how to cut straight hair. You ain't ever taught in your life. Heck, I signed a lease on my building before I even got my instructor's license. I was working on getting them. You got to have faith. You got to believe in it. If you trust in the man upstairs, if you do what you can do, he'll do what you can, but you don't have no students. Well, how you going to get students? Hey, I'm trusting in God. Well, you don't even have no money saved. I didn't have no money saved, y'all, when I opened my school. By the time I got my little building, paying the first, last month's rent and kind of painting and fixing it up the best I could with jack legs, I was broke. My students came from the barbers. I mean, not my students, my clients came from the barbershop. I was doing them to make ends meet. I'm going to tell you something. I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor its seed begging bread. So I can tell you all about that. And then when I got accredited, it was like I hit the lottery. Yeah, I went from the smallest barber school to the largest barber school in the whole United States. Yeah, I had a school with over 200 and something students at 20,000 students. That's God. But what if I had listened to the dream killers, the naysayers? You can't do that with it. Oh, that school so-and-so, you can't do that school. Oh, it's going to take you 3 years to get accredited. It takes 10 years to get accredited. Quit listening to them people. 3 years ain't nothing. That's nothing. If I didn't do it, guess what? I'd be working in the shop. I got my license back in 1990. I've been licensed for 34 years. 1998, I opened my school. What if I hadn't opened that school, y'all? I'd still be working in the shop broke right now. All of my friends, the people I grew up with, who became barber stylists, nail techs, that did not open schools. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Time flies. 34, guess what? They still in the shop, broke down. Some of them done quit, and they got little penny-ante jobs or whatever. And I'm not knocking them, and I'm not talking about them. I'm being transparent, telling you my story. Now, you may know people that made multi-millions of dollars working in the shop, whatever. I never experienced that, and I don't know anybody that does. But owning a school, getting accredited, is guaranteed money. The government never runs out of money. So I just wanted to share this with you all to let you all know you want accreditation away. You better find the money to get accredited. You better go find it because and pay somebody to do it. I don't care if it's our team or another consultant. It doesn't matter to me. I just want you all to get accredited. That's why I'm on here sharing it with you. I'm not trying to get no business. I build houses from the ground up and been doing it for 20 years. But I want to see you all win. I don't have a horse in the race. You know what we charge to do ISS and all that? I don't get that money. I pay the staff or whatever. That little bit, that ain't gonna change my life. $1 million wouldn't change my life. 10 million wouldn't change it. I'd still have the same house, the same car, living the same lifestyle. Once you get to a certain level, somebody's making 40 million, somebody's worth 20 or whatever, 10, still the same. So I encourage you all, get your accreditation because it's going to change your life and you'll be able to help people. Do we have any other questions? Any other questions?